How to master espresso in 3 days. First of all, get WDT, which is these needles, because it will help dramatically to improve your consistency. Secondly, you will need to pay a very close attention to your pack preparation. You can't just pour in the coffee and tamp it and expect it to have a great result. And third, very important thing is scales. When we're talking about espresso, it is very important to think about resistance, because when we pull in our shot, we create a resistance. If we don't have coffee, we will not have resistance, so it will not produce 9 bar. But when we're adding coffee and tamping it, we create a resistance. And this is the first thing that you will need to pay attention to. What is your grind size? How far the tamper travels and how easy it is to tamp? Will it be a short movement, which is probably a big grind size, so the distance of travel of the tamper is small? That's the first sign that you need to make the grind size smaller. Or it travels too far, and you can see that the grind size is too small. Because of resistance, we must have a stable dose of coffee, and it is better to keep it 0.1 gram accuracy. Ratio. If you have a good machine, stick to 1:2 ratio. If you have like DeLonghi Dedica, it is better to brew 1:4 ratio, which is longer, because it will be harder to control the shot otherwise. And what it does, it will help you to get used to your grinder. And to get used to your grinder and to master espresso, it is better to prepare 1 libra of coffee or 500 grams, so that you will have 1 coffee to work with and you will have stability in the process. Because every coffee requires different grind size, and it will be easier to understand where to correct the grind size that way. Because you are used to the flavor that you are getting and you know where to shift it. And sometimes it's not enough to have just 1 bag of coffee. Water, it is very important. It is better to use reverse osmosis plus added minerals, or just store-bought water, or water from vending machines. So you need clean water with pretty low ppm. It should have low calcium amount and decent amount of magnesium. And what is the purpose, the goal of these adjustments, all of them, is to get the flavors that are mentioned on a coffee bag. Shot speed, meaning amount of seconds that it takes to pull the shot, crema color and flavor. Let's talk about that. As for the speed, the shots are usually pulled in around 25-30 seconds, but it is just the base. Every machine is different, every basket is different. This is for 18 grams of coffee, so I'm expecting it to have like 25 plus seconds of shot time. Time is measured from the moment that you push the button till the end. And we're not talking about pre-infusion. Turn it off if you can. If you have DeLonghi Dedica, you can't, and just know that it will make coffee in a longer period of time, like 35 seconds, or even 45. And with manual lever espresso makers, you can expect shots like 50 seconds. It's still okay, but time is not that important. It is important to analyze the shot later on, when you taste it. The thing at what we pay attention when we're brewing is the ratio. So we're stopping the shot at the ratio, not by time. We're recording the time to see, should be this coffee brewed faster or longer. If you see that your machine is running for 15 seconds and there is no coffee, it's probably better to just stop, discard this coffee and increase the grind size. So what you doing? You getting some grind size, running the shot and seeing what is the time, what is the flow rate, you paying attention to these details. And then you analyze the crema color. If it's too bright, it is probably acidic and you need to decrease the grind size. If it's too dark, it is probably over-extracted and the shot time probably over 35-40 seconds. So you will need to increase the grind size to lower the resistance, so the coffee will flow faster from the group. So again, everything is done by adjusting the resistance of a coffee pack, and resistance is adjusted by the grind size. Usually, if it's a caramel color, it is green light to drink it. But here is a thing. First of all, you need to preheat your machine for around 10 minutes and make sure that your holder is hot, like very hot. You can't touch it. But for bigger machines, it could take up to 30 minutes, and it is fine. It is very important to preheat your machine, because otherwise brewing temperature will be lower and it will not be representative, because the temperature will affect the flow and the flavor, so there will be less acidic notes if it's too cold. And overall, coffee will be muted, will be muddy, boring, no complexity. That are the signs that your machine was cold. So that's the end of my notes. Let's adjust our coffee. And currently the grind size is set to be a little bit smaller than needed. We've made it 18 grams. Now it is time to distribute our coffees. There will be better resistance, even resistance. At first I'm going deep to break the clumps, and then going up to just make the surface more even visually. Then vertical tap. It's important to not get like side tap, vertical. And then we tamp the coffee. It is usually better to pay attention to the rim. So you can tamp if you have station with 4 fingers and have equal distance between tamper and the rim. So you can practice this or 4 fingers and pay attention that it is leveled. It's better to run some water through the group to not have boiling water. Sometimes some machines usually can overheat. And now I'm gonna pay attention to, first of all, when the coffee will start to flow, and targeting the amount of grams that I need. So the final dose, it is 18 grams. I expect 36 grams out. From the 7th seconds, it started to flow, but the flow is too slow. You can see it's not even 16 grams yet. 18. So 18 grams in 27 seconds, this is Ristretto. I've stopped it because I know that 27 seconds is too much. And this time is perfect for Ristretto. So we had 1:1 ratio. And you can see the Crema color is perfect. So this shot is drinkable. But it is Ristretto. For espresso we need bigger grind size, so that we will have a more or less similar brewing time. As expected, the shot was great, but it is too concentrated for this coffee because it's pretty acidic. And if you have intense acidity, not everyone likes it. It has a caramel flavors to it, but even for my taste, Ristretto is too much for this acidic coffee. So too much brightness. We will decrease it by just increasing our ratio. And for that we need to increase our grind size, so that we will have less resistance, and that way we will have a shot in the amount of time which is proper. So the time will be around 27 seconds, but we will have more coffee. 18 grams. Tamping force is around 10-15 kilograms. Just make it consistent. Clean this group, just in case. Four seconds, and the flow looks nice. Could be even too fast. Yeah, too fast. So we're gonna stop at 36. 19 seconds. And as you can see, it is bright. We need it a little bit darker. This is Crema color, which is drinkable, but you can improve it quite significantly by going a little bit darker, so that the brewing time will be around 25 seconds. But this is drinkable. So what I'm doing, I'm discarding this shot because it looks too bright for me. And I know this coffee could be acidic if it's too bright. Cleaning the coffee grinder because previous grind size, we don't need it. We need to discard it so that we will have consistent grind size. 18 grams, perfectly. 3 seconds. The flow is pretty thin, so I think this is success, because relatively thin flow means it is slow. Still not the perfect one, 23 seconds, but it is better. Just a little bit, but better. You can see it is drinkable, so the color, I would drink the shot. In order to properly perceive the flavors, I'm mixing it and trying a couple of sips. That is actually a very complex shot. Clean berries, no acidity which is dominating, so the shot is perfect. 25 seconds for this exact coffee with this dose is perfect. It is possible to adjust your coffee pretty fast. The complexity is incredible. That's why I like 1:2 ratio, because 1:1 for some coffee is too intense, like here. But 1:2 opens up the potential of the beans very nicely. Oh yeah, and one important thing, how to analyze the shot. Is it perfect or it is not? If your shot is too dark in flavor, probably your grind size is too small. Just increase the grind size. If your shot is thin in flavor and acidic, just make the grind size smaller. The goal is to have a good aftertaste, which is long and clean. If you do everything correctly, it will be like that. So it will be drinkable and light. So even though it is intense, concentrated, it will be pleasant. And clean aftertaste without burnt notes is our goal.